Welcome to Friday Night Chats with Garage Geek. I hope everyone had a great week. I just made a short video yesterday, and I said in my video, I hope everyone had a good week. But this is the week ending video, starting the weekend. So now I can really say, I hope you all had a good week. I don't know why I said all that. That wasn't necessary. But in Friday Night Chats, I'm unexpurgated. Is that the word? I'm definitely uncut. I'm getting in dangerous territory here. So I'm not going to go back in, edit any of that stuff out. I have movies, books, one comic, and some CDs to share with you. But I want to start with my show that's going to be coming the last Saturday in April. Remember, it's based around the Fabulous Four. We're going to be listening to Kirby Crackle and discussing the CDs E for Everyone and Mutate Baby. These are silly, fun. Remember, I'm getting away from the heaviness that was last month, and we're kind of doing some lighthearted things. These are available on Spotify, and I'm sure they are also available on YouTube. The book that we're reading is a short one. It's a Stephen King novel, The Colorado Kid, from the Hard Case Crime. I'm really interested to read this. I did read the introduction to this book, and the introduction was really good, giving some of the history of and how this book came to be. And it was written for the 10-year anniversary. I can't remember. The movie that we're going to be watching is a comedy, What We Do in the Shadows. I've seen it before, but I really wanted to see it again since I'm watching the show. Kind of wanted to do a comparison. I remember loving this movie. So hopefully you'll be able to watch this because it's just so much fun. And finally, the graphic novel is a heavy tome that I got to pick up. And that is The Simpsons Treehouse of Horror. Now remember, you don't have to buy this big thing. There's shorter graphic novels of the stuff. So you can go ahead and get one of those. And I'm sure it's available online, all that kind of jazz. Movies. I have 4 movies to share with you. Now, what I did, I'm kind of in this phase. My dog's getting wild over here. I'm kind of in this phase where I'm kind of pulling back from trying to spend money, although I've been spending too much, even though I'm trying not to. That could be the subject of a whole different video. But what I'm trying to do is stop buying so many things and focus on what I have. So during COVID, I went to a person's house who was having a sale, and he worked at Paramount Pictures, and he designed the art on the cases, I guess. And he got a copy. My dog is just really distracting me right now, because he's knocking over the pillow and he's going to knock over my coffee. And this is my favorite coffee cup. I cannot have this coffee cup broken. You would see Garage Geek go off on this dog. So let me take a sip of my coffee. But I'd still love him. That's okay, right? Right, Aries? I'd still love you. Now, what was I saying? I don't even remember. Oh, so I'm trying to use what I have as resources. So I did 2 things this week. I pulled out all of those. Oh no, I was talking about the guy. I got him. Okay, so he was blah. The memory came back. So I went to this guy's house, and he had all the DVDs from all the things that he had worked on at Paramount, and they were all sealed. He didn't want them, and he sold them to me. I think I bought like 100 for $100, or maybe less. So I got all these DVDs for $1. And I'm moving this pillow because my dog is like freaking me out here. I hope I didn't lose the thread of this a second time. Okay, so I had all these 100 DVDs, and I watched a few of them, really liked them. But I decided to get back to that. So I pulled 50 out, and I told my husband, give me a number between 1 and 50. And I pulled that movie and I watched it. Then I took one from the box and I put it back in. So I have a constant a supply of 50. So I ended up watching these 3 movies, and I'm going to talk about one more movie that I saw. Okay, I'm taking that pillow from you too. Oh, Lord. Okay, are you going to relax? Let's relax. So the first movie that I watched was Copper Canyon from 1950. So you could probably guess that this is a Western. Now, what was really nice about this is it's your run-of-the-mill Western. This is basically an anti-hero. He's not an anti-hero. He's the reluctant hero who has to come in and save the town, and she's the bad girl of the town. She's working with the enemy, but he wins her over, and you know how that goes. Okay, now my dog is trying to get in my lap. Okay, seriously, I'm losing viewers left and right now. Oh my gosh. Okay, do you want to say hi? Say hi, Aries. Okay, you're causing lots of trouble. That's okay. I love you. So, can you relax? I was trying to explain a movie right now. Hi. Okay, let's move that over. Okay, so it's Doggy Assault right now. And what was really, really neat about this movie is that it was filmed in Sedona, and I think that was the town. So beautiful. Just the backdrops in this movie. But also at least one scene was filmed at Vasquez Rocks. And Vasquez Rocks is one of my favorite places. And I'm going to show it to you. So here's an example. Okay, I don't want all the pictures. So there's a picture of what Vasquez Rocks looks like. I love that place. And then it was really one of the more famous scenes is in this Star Trek with the Gorn. But I see this all the time in different movies and shows. It's really cool when I come across it. So there was a scene in this movie filmed there, and I was like, oh, there's Vasquez Rocks. It was so cool. All right, so that was Copper Canyon, and that starred Ray Milland and Hedy Lamarr. I would give this 3 out of 5. This is nothing you have to run out and watch. But I enjoyed it. That's because I like these older movies. Next, I saw The Escape Artist. Now, this was produced by Francis Ford Coppola at the Zoetrope Studios. And what I really, really liked, on both these movies, there was commentary. So even I loved it that these DVDs came with commentary tracks. I watched the commentary on this one and this one, and it's really cool. So this movie is pretty flawed. I think with a really good editor, they could have made a much better movie. But still, it was about a young boy who is trying. He knows a lot of magic tricks, and he comes. His father was a magician, and he's got a lot to prove, and he falls in with a criminal element, and I don't know. I'll just leave it at that. But I liked this movie a lot, but I can't recommend it because of the pacing. However, the actors in it are really good. It has Desi Arnaz's last performance. It's got Raul Julia. And the kid in this is, I forget his name. His last name is O'Neill. But the thing is, he is the son of Ryan O'Neill and Farrah Fawcett. I was like, wow. He is, I think, the brother or stepbrother of Tatum O'Neill. And so what I have to say about this was that after watching this movie, I read up on the star's life, and wow, it's just filled with tragedy. He was responsible for Francis Ford Coppola's son's death. I guess his father used to hit him, and he got him to use drugs at a really young age. He was wild, rebellious, but you could see, like, he was a really good actor at a young age. And it's a shame that he didn't get more like Tatum O'Neal did. So for many reasons, the commentary alone and just the whole idea and everything surrounding this movie, I really enjoyed it. It was a good experience of a very flawed movie. I would give this movie about a 2.5 out of 5. But if you're able to watch the commentary, I think that would raise it. I think the commentary in this instance brings so much more to the movie because it talks about how, for many people working on this, it was their first film, and they were kind of learning, and they admit that they made missteps and whatnot, and they all went on to do other movies in their careers that were much more famous, successful. So for all of that background, I would recommend this. If you're a film buff, you would definitely like to see this movie. The last one I watched was Bang Bang You're Dead. This thing keeps sliding down too. Now, this was made for TV. It was basically a Showtime movie. So I knew that going into it. And it stars Ben Foster, who is always really good. Now, I think I first saw Ben Foster on 6 Feet Under. I think this was made before it or around the same time. I actually have a picture in here. So you can see he's like really young. And it also has the guy from The Flash. So what do I say about this movie? It's definitely made for TV, and it was all about like school shootings and bullying, and so it has all of those trigger topics that was going on, that the topics that were going around about schools. I don't know, like 10, 15, 20 years ago. They even mentioned Columbine in the movie. I mean, you could see like Ben Foster with a gun. But yeah, you can definitely tell it's made for TV, but the performances, especially of Ben Foster, if you want to see him in an early role, it's worth watching. It's even based around a play that became really popular on this subject, and the play was For Teens. I'm gonna say I also enjoyed this movie, but again, like a 3 out of 5. And it's definitely has a made-for-TV feel. In fact, the ratio, even though it's a modern movie, was a square because it was originally shown on Showtime. So those are the 3 movies that I saw from my collection. There's another movie that I'm going to talk about, which is a lot heavier. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about this. And let me get to the pictures, and that was called The Zone of Interest. So before I start, I want to show you my best picture list. I just showed this last week, but now I've seen 9 of them. Zone of Interest was just released for streaming this week on, I believe it's HBO Max, I believe. And so I only have 1 left. I'm waiting for American Fiction, and then I'll have all 10. This Zone of Interest is a heavy contender for being the best. It didn't win, obviously. So this movie is so strange. I don't know if I'm going to try not to spoil it, but it's basically, there's just a couple ideas in this movie. And if you know about this movie at all, you pretty much know what it's about. So here's a picture of the, what do you call it, the movie poster. And so you could see this family just sitting there, and in the background, you can see the barbed wire on the walls, and then you could see this very, very dark sky, and it's called The Zone of Interest. I wonder, let me see if I had another picture. I don't know, it's really kind of difficult to talk about this movie without spoiling it. I think I gotta spoil it a little bit because this movie is one of those movies that is very impressionistic, and most people know what it's about anyway. So it's about a family living right next to Auschwitz. In fact, they live right at the front door because it's the movie about the commandant's family. And so the movie is intentionally, I believe it's intentionally meant to be boring. It shows their life. Although, as it goes on, it gets a little bit more and more insidious, right? Because of the things that they say and the things that they're doing. But it's really meant to show a picture of like the banality of evil, like these everyday people just going about their lives, and everything about it is just deplorable, and it's just there. And the reason that this is because there's constant visual cues going on in the background of where they are. Like they'll be sitting there, talking, and then you just see like the smokestack, right? And you think, okay, well, they're just sitting there having tea, and all these people are being, you know, uh, mass murdered. And you'd see the train going by, and with the smoke of the train going in the background while they're sitting there doing whatever, and that they're bringing people to the camp. And I mean, that's not the worst part. And the thing is, it's constant. There's a watchtower, and it's constantly in the picture. And then there's the lights from the ovens that's permeating every dark scene. It's like this evil is constantly there in the background. But that's not the worst, because those are visual cues, and you're not constantly seeing them every scene. But what's really insidious is the sound of this movie. And I believe it won Best Sound, and wow, does it deserve it, because the sound in the movie, it's really insidious. It like works on you. The entire movie, you're listening to gunshots and screams, and it's always there in the background at a muted level. Sometimes it will be a little bit higher than others, but you're constantly listening to this horrific soundscape as you're watching this banality going on, like this mundane day-to-day activity. And wow, does it get under your skin. By the end of this movie, you're just like crawling to get out of this movie, because it really does work this insidious effect on you. And for that reason, I thought this movie was brilliant. The way that they incorporated sound and visuals, and then the slow, it was the actions and everyday thing. Like, there are things that happen in the movie that are disgusting, right? But for the most part, it's just this family going about their daily lives. And this movie definitely deserves to be in the Academy Awards as one of the best pictures of the year. It was also nominated as a best foreign film. I'm not sure which one won. And like I said, I picked, I think, Oppenheimer to be the best of all of them there. Or did I say Anatomy of a Fall? I was going back and forth between those two, but Zone of Interest kind of sneaks its way in. It's like Insidious. It like moves in. I don't think that I would put this one as best picture of the year. It's just so dark. I mean, that shouldn't be a reason why not to choose it. I would put this as the best foreign language movie, although I only saw two of them. I saw the Society of the Snow. Is that what that's called? About the plane crash in the Andes? That one. And this one. I would say Zone of Interest is the better movie of those. But anyways, this one works a magic on you that you don't expect. Like, for the first 30-40 minutes, I'm just sitting there kind of just watching it, ho hum, whatever. But I knew what was going on. Like, I heard the sounds and I saw everything. But it's just like, it really just got under your skin by the end of the movie. Sorry if I really spoiled that a lot. I try not to spoil movies, but there's like not that much you could say. Actually, there's a lot you can say about this movie because you can like there's a lot put into this movie that you can break down. Like people online were even talking about which flowers were chosen to represent different symbols. Like the beginning of this movie, there is a slow fade in. It's black for at least, I don't know, a couple minutes. You just sit there and you're in darkness. And I was thinking to myself, oh no, because my husband does not like that kind of stuff. He does not like extreme art movies, and I was thinking, oh God, he's gonna rebel at any second. And he was giving me looks, and I was like, oh no. But he actually really ended up enjoying the movie, which I was kind of shocked. I thought he was gonna turn to me at the end and said, that movie sucked. What the hell? One of your movies again? But he actually really, really enjoyed it. So I mean, it does work a magic on you. Okay, so those were the movies. Sorry if I went on and on about that movie. It's brilliant. You've got to watch it, even though I spoiled the whole damn thing. But there's so much in it that I think you can get out of it. But if you do not like long, slow movies like that, you won't like it at all. You won't. You have to be very, very patient. You have to be willing to be bored. It's not as bad as Stalker, though. Okay. Gorby now is going to be mad that I said that. But actually, as the next day after I watched Zone of Interest, I actually emailed Gore and I was like, you have to watch this movie. Since you loved Stalker, I think this movie is right up your alley for the slow burn. And he wrote me back thanking me, or no. Yeah, he wrote me back, and he also said in another stream that he thanked me for having him watch it because it was as good as I said it was. All right, let's move on. I'm already at 22 minutes. So I'm going to talk about CDs. Okay, so Scott at No Solution, he sent me a bunch of CDs, and for a while I didn't have my CD player hooked up, so I stopped listening to them. But I pulled 2 of them out this week, and I listened to them on repeat. The first one was The Ultimate Sin by Ozzy Osbourne. Now, this CD is, I think, the album that I stopped listening to him on. I listened to him a lot up until this CD, and I think I just got bored with Ozzy or something. I moved on. I moved away from heavy metal, and listening to this was a lot of fun. I personally don't think this is as good as some of his older stuff, but it's certainly not bad. Now, I have a huge bone to pick with this. That cover art is, I think, Boris Vallejo. Sorry, it's in this plastic thing. It's hard to see. And it's gorgeous cover art. They shrunk it down to that size with this silly satin in the background and then narcissistically made his name gigantic. I do not like that at all. That's trash. I want to see that gorgeous art. Ozzy, seriously. However, when you open it up, they do have that. So I guess I could flip it around and do that to it, but at least it's on the inside. And the back cover has that great Ozzy as like a winged serpent or something. There's some funny pictures on the inside. So 80s Ozzy. Yeah, look at him. He looks like he's a magician in that one. Doing a magic trick in Vegas. Here we got this great picture in the middle. And this one does have a hit on it, which is oh, you know what, the writing is really small on it. Which one was it? It's the last song. Oh, Shot in the Dark. And then I grabbed this one, which is Overkill. This one I never heard of. I've never heard anything about it. I really enjoyed it. It's much heavier, but it's also, I think, from the early 90s. I think the date on it was 91. And it's got this cool fold-out booklet, right? And it's got alternate art. I kind of like that art more than the one that they put on the cover. Can you see that? Yeah. I don't know, which one do you like better? I kind of like that simplistic one a little more. Although it's cheesy, but it's cheesy fun. And then you got all the band members there. And on the back you have, of course, the lyrics. Oh, that's pretty cool for this. So I still have this one in my CD player. I'm still listening to it, and I'm enjoying it. The first song is really, really good. I don't think the other songs are as good, but this album is fun overall. But that first song really, really brings you in, and it's called Coma. And the next one is called Infectious, and then Blood Money, Thanks for Nothing, Bare Bones, Horoscope, Frankenstein, New Machine. Okay, I don't know why I had like sometimes these song titles are fun. Live Young, Die Free. Nice Day for a Funeral. And then finally, Solitude. Right, so those are the two CDs that I listened to this week, and I'm still having fun with that Overkill CD. So next we're going to talk about books. So I told you how I'm trying to appreciate my collection more and focus on what I have. Now, when I was first getting into Whatnot app, is that WhatsApp? No, Whatnot. I bought a lot of sci-fi books. And so I decided I'm going to do a book a week, and I'm going to try, because these books are all short. And so I read one. I actually got through an entire book. It's not that big of a win, but for me it is, just to force myself to actually get through the entire book in a week. And I read this one, A Talent for the Invisible by Ron Goulart. It's actually the first in a trilogy. And this book, it has a nice cover, right? It's not very good. Unfortunately, it's just average. But you know what? I didn't mind it. It was short. It moved through. It has some problems. Like I actually took pictures of some, like right off the bat, like right off the bat. Is that the right thing I'm saying? Yeah, right off the bat, there's problems with like racism and all that kind of stuff. Oh, I didn't bring him over. And sexism. So he goes to a train station and he's 17 minutes early, and the lady at the desk says, "Okay, well, here's your ticket. Do you want to go to bed with me?" And I was like I guess in the future, every woman is available for sex at any time in a shop. It was like kind of cringy. And then he goes to Brazil, I think it is, and he's in a hotel, and everything is set up as if they were like African American, like mammies, and like they were speaking, and like everybody was dressed like African American mammies. Like, I don't know even how to say that, like slavery time. And I think that I just have to say it. And they were speaking with that dialect, and I was like, oh, okay. No, this is not good. And then later there's he's one of the bad guys, but he's Asian, and they just use a lot of Asian slurs. So I did have quite a bit of problem with the content, which a lot of these older books do have that problem. But this was in 1974, and I don't know. I think even for 1974, he could have known better. That's kind of late for that. But overall, like, this guy, he can become invisible. He rubs like a lotion on his body, and he can become invisible and infiltrate. And he needs to find out there's this person who's resurrecting famous people, and like they'll murder someone and then bring them back to life for money. And so he has to go and investigate that. Like I said, just an okay novel. Didn't hate it, didn't love it, flew through it. Like, it was not hard to read at all. It wasn't like a slog to get through. Just, I would say, like a page turner, but it definitely had things that would turn a lot of people off. I having said that, I would like to read the other two in the trilogy. So I'm gonna try to stick to a book a week. Are you gonna hold me to it? Every week I need to show one of my books that I bought. Two other books that I read was the first one was called Pearl by Sean Hughes. Now I actually do not know how to pronounce this name. So there it is. Is that Sean? Shean? Sean. I'm just gonna say Sean. I believe it's a female writer. So Pearl. This book was actually I think shortlisted. Yeah, so here is the 2023 Booker Prize. And if you look right here, the ones that I've read are in blue and the ones that I haven't are in white. So I'm kind of halfway through the list. But there's Pearl there on the long list. I enjoyed this book a lot, actually, but I do believe it belongs there on the long list. It did not deserve to move up. But even having said that, I really enjoyed this book. This was about a book about a young girl who at an early age. Okay, that was redundant. So a girl who at an early age loses her mother, and she's not sure how. So the mother is just gone one day, and for the longest time, she believes that the mother just abandoned her, and she goes through all the stages of grief. Like, she doesn't want to go to school, she cuts herself, she's depressed, like her hair's falling out, like the people around her, her father and her brother, try to help protect her, but she's pretty much drowning in her own life. The book goes till when she's adult, and she does manage to build a life for herself, but later on in the book something happens and she finds out, she guesses what really happened to her mother, because her mother constantly played with her and did things with her as a kid, and something happens which triggers a set of memories, and she figures out what she believes happens to her mother, and it gives her peace. So I mean, it's really well written. It's very moving, to watch what this young girl has to go through, all her struggles, trying to fit in after this traumatic incident in her life, because she loved her mother very, very much. But there's this one scene in the book that is just so well written. It kind of elevates itself from the rest of the text. I don't know if I can do it justice, but she's sitting there thinking, and as an adult, as I told you, she came across this information, and it kind of all is put into place, and she starts pondering the fact that she had all these wonderful, beautiful memories of her mother up until that point. And every time somebody came, like the police or a counselor or something, they would always focus on something negative. For example, she must have been murdered, or she must have been abandoned, or she must have accidentally died, or it was always something negative in the fact where it would taint one of those memories. So every one of those negative memories would encroach on the positive till they would be almost gone. I didn't do that justice, but the way that the writer described it in the book was so good that for that one scene alone, I just felt the book was elevated. I enjoyed the book. The next book that I read or listened to was The Echo Wife. Now, this one might have been recommended maybe by Kristen and Mary on their live stream. I like I said, I always put these things in my list, and then when they come up, I listen to them, and I sometimes forget where I got them. I don't mean to be disrespectful in that regard. That's kind of the way I do things, and the way I do things is not good. So, anyways, I read this or listened to this book called The Echo Wife by Sarah gaily. This is a book about cloning. It's got a murder mystery. It's a first person point of view. It's about cloning and what one person is doing to try to create this perfect wife. It's told from the point of view of the woman who's kind of abandoned, and it's got a lot of really interesting moral conundrums in the book. And I don't want to give a lot of spoilers, but it makes you think about humanity and what people do. It was reminding me in some ways of a book that I read about, I don't know, 5 months ago, and it was about humans in the future and how they're cloning other humans or raising humans for to be livestock so that they could eat them. In some ways, this book had some similarities that it reminded me of that. That book was like too much for me. Like that book was a tough listen. But this one is not nearly as bad as that, but it has some scenes, and there's a lot that happens in the laboratory with clones, and you know, disposing of the clones as if they're constantly referred to as specimens and da 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 da. Okay, so it's a sci-fi book. I had a lot of fun with this. Not the best book out there, a page turner. You're gonna enjoy it. If anything that I said sounds interesting to you, a first person narrative about someone who is cloning, and then it becomes like a murder mystery and some other things that involves cloning and da da da. You might enjoy this book, The Echo Wife. And I think I only have one thing left to share. Yeah, one more thing. And it's 37 minutes. What the heck, Garage Geek? You need to learn to shut up. Let me go ahead and talk about The Goon, The Right Stuff. I was so excited to read this that I read it last night before bed. Luckily, it was very short. It's only this much, and then there are some comics from the like online comics that he made, and then there's a lot of sketching and everything, which I appreciate because this guy is a good artist, really good. Now, his painted art is stunning. This stuff is so gorgeous. And I found out, like, I have 0 through 5, so I have 6 volumes, but I think there's like 14 to 17 of these, and I need to get them all just because of that art. And I might even want to get an extra set, because this might be an example of when I rip these books apart and put that into frameable art. These covers, that's not even the best one. These covers are gorgeous. Let me show you another one. Again, this one has an introduction, and he's basically apologizing. He's like, hey, this was my first work. It's full of flaws. It's nowhere near as good as when I actually started to do the series. You're gonna don't judge my work based on this, he said. And I loved it, so I can't wait to get to the rest of this. I mean, the interior art is phenomenal as well. I do have to say there were some things, like there's animal and child abuse in this, in the same vein as Transmetropolitan, but they're abusive to everybody. And because it's done in a comic kind of way, it wasn't so bad for me. Like, I'm going to show you an example of it, which had me rolling. So if you don't like child abuse, you might not want to listen to that. I mean, look at this gorgeous art. Yeah, his interior art is still really good. I just became an uber fan of this guy. Let me see. If there are any more. No. Okay, so there was this strip where this guy, he comes to their offices and he's like, can you go to my house because my child is possessed? So they go over there, they burst on the door, And there's this little girl, and they start stomping the crap out of her. I mean, it's bad. And he was like, "Here, take the foot." And he was like, I mean, it's really bad. So I wasn't laughing at that. But this one little thing, later she pops her head up because because the guy comes running in and he's like, "Wait, it wasn't my daughter, it was my son." And they're like looking at each other here. And they realize that they made a big mistake right there. And then she pops up and she says, "Mommy, I can't feel my legs." Now I know you're probably going to think I'm twisted, but I almost lost it. That was so funny. Now, in this, you're going to have lots of little moments like that. Beautiful art of gross things, and they're trying to make you laugh. I would say that this is irreverent, right? Like, should I be laughing at a kid that just got beat up? No. But, Mommy, I can't feel my legs. Oh, Lord, I need to stop. I'm going to get banned from YouTube. So I absolutely can't wait to dive into the first volume of the series. And I believe that this won Eisner Awards. And as I scroll through, as I go through the art in this book, like, it's so gorgeous. Like, look at that. That art is stunning. I mean, it's ugly to look at, but what amazing art. I can't wait. Oh, look at this one based on that one's definitely based on Norman Rockwell. So I think I just became an instant Goon fan. Okay, I am so sorry that I talked on and on I don't know how you can, for 42 minutes. I don't know, Garage Army, how you can stand listening to me prattle. But most of you seem to like it, so I went on and on about a bunch of nothing. I hope all of you have a great weekend. And I have to say this correctly. Remember, please try to be intelligent. No, that's wrong. Okay, and that's bad because this is music wrote it for me this morning. Please try to be more intelligent. That's it. Please try to be more intelligent. Have a good weekend.